It's awesome.
I'm going to start with a few quick presentations, so if everyone wants to either sit or stand around, and we'll just do a little quick introduction of some of the specialists that are here today and the organizations that they're representing. Hello everyone, thank you for being here. I'm so happy to see the chairs filled because you never know when you promote something whether or not folks are going to show up. So I really appreciate you taking time out today to be here and to hopefully learn about some of the resources or just to reconnect with some friends that you haven't seen, and also to share with me what things you think Jackson still needs that we don't have, things that we're doing really well, share the good stuff too, and also let me know either through comment cards or email, call me at the town office and let me know feedback after the meeting. I think it's really important. Well, first of all, this came about because of our facilities committee survey. Facilities, what does that have to do with anything? Well, it came about that we need more services in Jackson for seniors. So I want to know, does that mean hiking trails, or does it mean senior services and transportation? Does it mean aging in place, or all of the above? So I really want to follow up with this meeting with what we got right and what we're still missing, and share all that with me. So I'm not going to bore you guys with a lot of speech on that. I really, again, am so excited to see you. Please make sure that you leave your name and email on the sheet in case you do reach out to me or I want to reach out with folks to follow up. And then we have a few folks that are also here that are going to give you a 5-minute blurb on why they're here and hopefully answer some questions that you might have on what services are available. So we're going to start out with Mary Ann Jackson, who is the Executive Director at the Gibson Center for Senior Services.
Thank you. Where Barb is the president of the board.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And she's a great president, and so much fun to be able to work and problem solve with her. The Gibson Center has been serving the Valley since 1979, but what we have been doing has been growing and growing and growing. So I'm going to make some assumptions that you know about our core programs, but I'm still going to mention them. The Meals on Wheels is our weekday bringing a nutritious meal, a driver coming every day to someone's home who is homebound, or doesn't have to be homebound, but unable to make a meal comfortably and easily in their home. So this could be somebody who's rehabbing from a surgery, and it can be short-term or long-term. But we can bring Monday through Friday meals. We'd also deliver blizzard bags for when we know there's the snowstorm coming, and shelf-ready food that can be available. It's a wellness check. It's a social check. It's a knock on the door. The drivers can't just leave that meal and run. They knock on the door and say hello, how are you? And a lot of good wellness and social connection happening with that. While I'm talking about meals, we also have Monday through Friday our congregate meals, which are served by volunteers in our Sprague dining room, and we serve from 11:30 to 12:15. Again, home-cooked, full entree, sides, dessert, beverage, by donation only. There's a suggested $3, but nobody knows how much you pay, and it's what you want to. Absolutely delightful. We had 100 people yesterday for our guest chef program that featured Brian Coffey. But we have arts for lunch. We've got other people who come and present during our lunch hour. We have some very special lunches with Easter, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's, Mother's, Father's Day, and we'll create any kind of an event you want to. We have a lot of fun. So that's part of the food. I'm rushing through stuff. Scott is going to talk about transportation, lots of options, but I want you to know we do have the 14-passenger wheelchair accessible vans that with a scheduled request, we can do door-to-door service for any kind of thing you want to do. So it could be a haircut, it could be a trip down to Grants, it can be you need a physical therapy appointment. You know, we are not limited to what your trip is about. We may be limited about how we fit your trip in with somebody from Albany who's also asking for a ride at the same time. That's our problem that we try to solve. The other really big thing that we have is a whole lot of programs and social and physical exercise programs that Jill Reynolds runs. And so what I encourage you to do is look on our website and get on our site for our newsletter, because our daytime trips change all the time. She's taking people to museums, to botanical gardens, to the beach, you know, groups of people who are traveling on a day trip to go see stuff. But we also have a lot of activities in the building, some of which are regular, you know, week to week. It's our exercise classes with the Tai Chi Quan, chair exercises, but we also have things that rotate. We participate with OLLI, which is Ocean Lifelong Learning Institute. We have, because of some nice donors, we can provide 20 $40 memberships for people to OLLI to help them be able to participate in their programs, because we're partnering with them. There's such a benefit. We also have a whole host of services that are counseling or just services in the building. These include our Equip, Train, and Connect computer services. So we give away Chromebooks and iPads to people who need them, free, and then train people how to use them. So we have different volunteers that come Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to work with individuals who are uncertain about how to use their device. And we can also help you get connected to some online modules. There's a flyer about it in the back. So if you'd rather just learn on your own, we can help you get connected to those modules. I personally feel that being computer literate at least a basic level is like knowing how to swim. In this day and age, you cannot get registered, apply for, be a part of this world, let alone all the social things that happen, whether it's through Zoom meetings and you want to find out what the library catalog is, or you want to join the New Hampshire Humanities. You got to be able to get through their systems using computers, and we want to make sure you can do that. We do our Medicare counseling for those who are turning 65 and are new to Medicare and trying to figure out, what do I do? And we do open enrollment during the fall and help people get their Part D. I'm going to let Renee talk about the Stay Warm, Safe, and Dry home modification program that we do. We've got people who come in and talk about VA benefits. I could go on, and I've already taken more than my 5 minutes. I really encourage you to come to the website, get on the newsletter, see what's happening, but even better, just come down to the Gibson, spend a little time. If you're brand new to the facility, let somebody know. I love coming downstairs from the office and touring people through the building and just showing you what's available, because it's fun. We have a good time. So I want to be sure that the others have a chance to talk, but if that doesn't meet the needs of what you were thinking about when you said there aren't, services for seniors for Jackson, let me know what you were thinking about, because it may be I didn't mention it, but we do have it. Because we're all about transportation, housing, health, outdoor spaces, and community connections. Right? So,
do you want to mention the gala?
Oh, would I love to mention the gala? I'd love to. We have on May 11th at the Majestic, we are having our Celebrate Seniors Gala. It is our annual fundraising event, but as important to me, we are celebrating what it is that seniors do for this valley. That we are the philanthropists, we're not the only, but we are a huge chunk of the philanthropists, the coaches, the mentors, the volunteers, the board members that the talent and the amount of contribution of seniors is what we're celebrating. So we have Laura Canoy from NHPR, who is going to come and moderate a panel that includes Mary Bastoni, who's a musician, artist, and actress, Peter Faber, who is a judge and criminal mediator, Bernie Livingston, who at 42 years is still coaching our kids in track and cross country, and phenomenal person. And if anybody's heard of her, Barbara Terrio is going to be on stage with us, sharing all of the joy and laughter that comes with continuing to be a serious part of our community. So that's our gala on the 11th. There's a brochure. We fixed the website. Thank you, Meg. Thank you, Barbara. And so on our website, you'll see how you can buy tickets. And I really encourage you to come and bring 10 or 12 of your favorite friends.
Also, there's a fundraiser tomorrow at the Red Parker.
At the Red Parker, we have bingo.
Yeah.
You know, Terry, once again, is opening the Red Parker Pub to us. And so bingo, $1 a card, and special drinks, and the proceeds are coming to the Gibson Center. That's Terry. Right. What else am I missing? Thank you for your helping me to remember what. So I'm going to hand it over to Renee. Renee Wheaton, who is our Senior Resource Navigator at the Gibson and also the Senior Resource Coordinator for Freedom.
Good evening. Yes, I am Renee Wheaton. I'm the Senior Resource Navigator for the Gibson Center. What does that really mean? It means that I am your, kind of like your one-stop call if you have a question regarding maybe how do you get information about Medicare? How do you get information about heating or energy assistance? What's the phone number for the VA? Legal assistance, accounting, all of that type of information. I have a huge 40 pages of resources right now with phone numbers and such, and I would be more than happy to share that any time if you have a question about that. The other thing that I do is I am the coordinator for the Stay Warm Dry Safe program, which is a home modification and repair. It is not a big project one. It's not like I can go in and redo your bathroom or something like that. It's more of the fact is that we have somebody who will help you put in grab bars, who might help you change a light out so that way it is a motion sensor. We're all about trying to help you stay safe in your home. So there is information available here. It's one of the pink sheets in the back table as well. So I help you with that. What you do is you call me, we go through some information, and I can find out whether there are funds available. There's a grant that is available through the USDA World Development that you might be eligible for. So that is what I do. And then I also help coordinate some transportation. I'm kind of your advocate, your mouth, so to speak. They used to call me the Wheaton Bulldog because my mom's from Wheaton, Kansas, of all places, and they were the Wheaton Bulldogs, and that fits me quite well because I'm out to help you to be safe and to answer any questions. Scott has more information about the transportation, so I'm going to pass it over to him.
Thank you. My name is Scott Bover, and I am the mobility manager for Carroll County. It's a fairly new role. I've been here about a year. And really the goal of the network of mobility managers is to help expand the services that are currently available when it comes to transportation, primarily for seniors and folks with disabilities. So help expand those services, but also work to create and develop new sustainable means of transportation. So what I've done is I've brought a brochure that highlights some of the services that are currently available to folks within Carroll County. I've also brought a packet. We have a couple of volunteer driver programs within the county, so we really want to help promote those programs as well. We have Carroll County RSVP, which is, of course, non-emergency medical, and Tri-County Transit also has a volunteer program that they have a lack of volunteers at this point. So we really want to help promote those programs as well. So anybody that's interested in becoming a volunteer driver, we have packets over there. I also have cards. If anyone has questions, by all means, you can come over and ask away. And also we have Terry Palmer here, and Terry is the statewide mobility manager.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having us. As Scott said, it is a very new program for us in the state of New Hampshire. I was actually a transit director for just over 3 years before I took on this role. And one of the things that we've been doing, which has been pretty successful, is when we come to these type of meetings, we ask you, if for some reason you couldn't drive tomorrow, how would you get around? How would you get to the grocery store? How would you get to your medical appointments? I saw a lot of you pat each other on the back, say hello, give hugs. What would happen if that person that you gave a hug to has to go to dialysis or cancer treatment and they don't have any family members in the area? One thing that we've been trying to promote a lot in the state of New Hampshire is neighbor helping neighbor. Because a lot of people will say, well, you know, Scott's my neighbor, I would help him if he needed to get to the grocery store or to a medical appointment, but I don't really know this person over here that much, I don't know if I'd help them. So the nice thing about our volunteer driver programs in the state is you can dictate where you want to go, how often you want to go, who you want to help. So if you wanted to stay right here in Jackson and help your neighbors here in Jackson, or maybe Conway, or maybe there's a couple other towns you'd consider helping, that's what you tell a volunteer driver program. Well, just let me know what the trips are, and if I'm available, I would take a trip. And then some of the programs reimburse you for your mileage. It's not a lot of money, but it does help you with the gas. And then you're also getting an outing helping a neighbor. So maybe you felt like shopping, but you weren't really sure, but now you find out that Scott, your neighbor, needs a ride. Well, okay, I can go out and, you know, it's a social event. So it really helps to get people out of the house. And it's been a long winter, we know. So, but yeah, it just really, you know, we're really trying to get folks to think about that. You know, if all of a sudden you have to get to a medical appointment and you couldn't drive, or you have to have shoulder or knee surgery and now you can't drive, what would you do? A lot of folks are moving away, unfortunately. A lot of our family members don't have time, or they can help you with a couple of appointments, but so that's really what we're trying to get out to the communities is, you know, what would happen? You know, it really makes you think. And then, you know, what would happen if your neighbor couldn't get out to the grocery store? So, and then the only other thing I wanted to touch on real quick is you guys have so many resources here. It's mind-blowing. I live on the Vermont side of New Hampshire, like halfway down, so 3 hours away. But Scott also, he works for the Community Action Program, so Tri-County Community Action Program. And one of their programs kind of goes one step further than what Heather does. If you know somebody who needs a roof, or somebody who needs new windows, somebody who needs a new heating system, Scott could get you in touch with that person at the Community Action Program. I'm sure Heather has the contacts for the Community Action Program, fuel assistance, those type of things. You know, I think it's pretty much free, that program. I've seen new roofs, new windows, and heating system go into a house, and then a year later, the folks put the house on the market. So it is what it is. But if you know of anybody who needs assistance like that, you know, just reach out to Scott or Heather. I'm sure they have the information. So I believe Emily is next up for us. Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks, Karen.
Hi everybody, my name is Emily Benson and I am the Emergency Management Director here in Jackson. In this role, which every town has an EMD, but here specific to Jackson, I work really closely with fire, police, and ambulance in providing services that might be needed with folks. I have some background in public health and some training in emergency preparedness through that, and so came into this position just as COVID came into town, so it was a real kind of trial by fire, but we were all learning at the same time. So I really see my role in working with the community is really kind of being that connector to everybody. Couple of the different things that we have and that I help promote here in town is there's a Jackson Neighbor Care program. Again, we don't have, you know, I'll put some information in e-news, that's the way I communicate a lot of information. But that's a program, I've got some forms over there. I also just want to highlight the annual town report because it's got a lot of information in that as well. But folks can sign up, and it just helps the first responders when we do have times where we have extended power outages. There have been times where rivers have risen, and we think about certain places in town, if we lose a bridge, that if there are folks who are not going to be able to leave their homes, that's kind of first on our list to respond to. The other thing that I help promote is the 911 signs. I think you probably heard me sort of mentioning to folks, if you haven't gotten those red signs out on your roadside by your homes, it really helps our first responders be able to get to you safely. And it's interesting hearing folks on the radios just sort of like, where is that number? So again, it's a pretty quick response. The other thing is that it's been really fascinating, and this is where I really need your help. When folks are saying there's no services, I have to say I was shocked when I heard that. And so really excited to see folks turned out today, because I am another resource. I'm around town, see me in the post office. If you all have any questions about some of the different services that are available, can help you connect. As we've gone through, I have to look at this webinar, I missed yesterday, but the AARP is really recognizing the important role of sort of building those connections and relationships within communities in where it's so important in those times of disasters or emergencies. Those communities that have those ties, and we have some unique challenges here in town because we might live on a road that has a lot of vacant homes, and then there's the next full-time resident. So any way that you can reach out to your neighbors. I've also have a volunteer registration form, just as Scott was mentioning, to volunteer drivers. There are possible times where we might have to open an emergency shelter. The Whitney Center is our primary shelter here in town, but you can see what sort of talents you might be able to be willing to lend in those times of need. But I also kind of look at some of you, I know where most of you live, and I might have your phone numbers that I will call out where I think, ooh, Tish up on Dundee, she might be able to tell me a little bit of information on what's going on in a storm, whereas I've got the Polubniaks up on Green Hill. How's everything up there? So that's the sort of thing that really kind of, face-to-face connections is what I really love to do and thrive on. So just to end this, if people are not able to find the information, I'm just really always curious how people get their information. I think it's become, we often told our kids, we have every means of communicating, but no one ever communicates. And so I think to Mary Ann's point, do you use email? Do you text? Do you look at the paper? We try to hit all those different things. I can't really praise, again, the wealth of information on the town website. If there's something that doesn't make sense to you on that website in terms of emergency management, posting some of the different resources that are available through the Gibson Center, again, let me know, and we can see about kind of reconfiguring that. So I think that's about it.
Good, I'll start over again.
Okay. For questions and answers? Or?
No, for all the things I forgot to say.
Oh!
Well, everybody said, you forgot to say. So just a couple things. Emily was asking me if we have advanced care planning counseling, and we do. Joan Lanoy comes every other Tuesday and by appointment. But we're thrilled to have people come and work with Joan, who's got decades of experience walking people through the choices and the language around advanced care planning. One of the things that came up, I remember from the survey, was people wanted to know more about where they could go out walking. I want to be sure that all of you know on the GibsonCenter.org website, MWV Age-Friendly Community. Scroll down to the side and you find the trails, the most walkable trails. We've identified, and as of today, 44 went to 48, of the most walkable trails. Not traverse the moats, but what are the trails that are a mile to maybe 2, that are relatively flat, and we are working to develop a phone app for those people who want to have it that way. But we'll have even more maps, but we've got descriptions of how to find them and where the trailheads are. So in all of 12 towns that make up the Mount Washington Valley age-friendly community. So this is my other thing that I forgot to really emphasize is that we are an AARP WHO designated age-friendly community region. So we're not one town, we know we work as a whole region. And we have working groups who are trying to identify what are the things that can make incremental improvements, but make a difference in where and how we live, according to those 5 domains I mentioned earlier. So outdoor spaces is the group that put the trails together, is working to make it easier for our parks and our trails to be utilized. The health group is doing all sorts of things in terms of they're going to be doing a lead prevention. You know that our old homes have old lead paint. They're going to be working with a campaign for that. We did all the vaccine clinics with them. There are a host of things that the health group has been trying to do. Housing, we work with the MWV Housing Coalition, and I'm excited to tell you this summer we're going to have a smart and safe home expo at the farmers market in Schuler, or at the North Conway Community Center, and we will have the tiny home on wheels that has all the gizmos and the computered and the audible features that help a person age in place safely by using modern technology. It'll demonstrate universal design. We'll have a lot of information about, from the occupational therapists, how to make your home as safe and what modifications you can make to make it easier to live as long as possible in your home. Community connections, and this is the particular thing that is also brand new. We are starting, it's not a program, but it's a way of supporting old friends. And so old friends, in quotes, that we are going to be, with our Meals on Wheels drivers and with hopefully other organizations like Rotary, Habitat, if you give me the name of a group here in Jackson, of helping to support volunteers becoming empowered to become visitors in people's homes. And we aren't going to wait for somebody to say, I'm lonely, I'm desperate, I need somebody to come to my house. That nobody raises their hand to say that's who they are. But we know from natural connections that there are people that we need to keep in touch with. And we need to stay connected and don't let them drift off into loneliness and isolation. So I want to tell you, stay tuned. If you are interested in being someone who might be a visitor and making friends with somebody who otherwise is isolated or lonely, please let me know, because this is something we'll be starting. With not a lot of training, this isn't scripted, this isn't a program, it's just helping people remember who else needs somebody to be their friend. And that's a two-way street, right? So I probably forgot more, but that's it for tonight.
Thank you to everyone that gave information up here. I hope it was very helpful to all of you that came today. And speaking of the walkable trails in the 12 communities, we're also working specifically on the Jackson website, which will be on the town website soon, to have all of the walkable trails just that are in Jackson. And we talked about level of endurance, distance, and we have a whole committee that's working on that, so watch for that to be on the town website, and we'll probably put something out on e-news as well to let you know that that's available. So how many people use e-news here? Pretty much everyone here. And how do you find your news?
I cannot get back on e-news, so I would welcome any help with that.
Absolutely, we will talk, if not today, then another.
I couldn't get it on Rover. I had it and it disappeared.
Wow.
Now I get it on Gmail.
Interesting.
I couldn't get it on Rover.
Okay, so we'll talk because that's an interesting, I'm sure how many other people may have that problem. It can't be just one or two people, so, keep your eyes peeled. If we, post things, we try to post things in the post office, obviously, if you go in there, but also in the town office bulletin board. So we just try to get the information out. Please leave me comments with your name so I can reach back out to you. I hope this has been helpful. I want to do it again and have more people. Maybe we'll do it outside in the spring or something and share some of the information that you all learned. Please talk to your friends and reach out to us. Oh no, did you forget something, Emily?
No, but actually Renee mentioned something.
Yes.
There's the library and the senior.
The library has an amazing senior kiosk that has information about so many resources that are available to seniors, and you get to go into the most beautiful library in the whole wide world. So really, please utilize that service. You can also access the internet in the library as well. So there are so many services there. But if you don't wait to make things better too, please reach out to me as a selectman, to the Gibson Center, to the transportation experts, to Renee Wheaton, anyone that you have met here today, to Emily. Please let us know what more we can do in town, like Mary Ann said, so we can all age in place here and enjoy our community, which is just such a rich, wonderful community with wonderful people. So thank you all for coming. Ask me any questions. I'm here for another hour. And eat the snacks, because they're coming home with me if you don't.
Thank you. Yes. So I have another quick comment too. So at the state level, and
Feel free to take one with
most of the other mobility managers as well.
What is
We work
this?
a lot with
So these
New
are
Hampshire Healthy Alliance
packets
for
for folks to
Aging.
take home
We
if
work a
you're
lot
interested in
with
becoming a
Commission on
volunteer driver.
Aging, all of those groups,
And what it does
AARP,
is it has the
What is it?
application.
and our
What does it
goal
say?
is to make sure that you're.
Carroll County Transit Guide.
And so, if you have any questions, any comments, concerns, we don't want North Country to be forgotten about. We hear a lot about Southern New Hampshire, and it's my
I'll
goal
look
as
through
the state
this.
mobility manager to make sure that everybody understands we have a beautiful piece of property up here. Don't forget about these folks. So,
No,
if there's anything that you
It
should
is,
think
yeah.
of,
There is
please let us know.
accessible.
it's for all kinds of
Thanks, everyone.
transportation. It's for all kinds of transportation.